Hey everybody, I'm Charity, and I have been talking to you for the last few days about how to buy a house without cash or credit. So if you're broke as fuck and your credit's shit, I got you. This is how you do it. But people that are going to use this again and again really are going to be investors. So I do streamline most of the content to investors, even though anybody can use it. I am outside today because I'm really enjoying the weather, and it's so nice to not be in the house. I am pretty done with social distancing, even though I'm going to continue to do it. I'm over it. I've been a grumpy asshole at the house for like a week now. So I'm sorry, family. Anyway, today we are going to talk about a contract for deed. And basically, what a contract for deed is it's when you purchase a property, but the title doesn't convey right at the purchase time. Sorry, my allergies are acting up. But the title doesn't convey exactly when you purchase. So a good example of this is when I was like 17, 18, 19 years old, something like that. I was young. I had bought this truck for like $500 and a Starbucks gift card or something. I mean, it was like almost nothing. And it had some issues with it. It was ugly. It was this giant green truck with like rust on it. It had a horn that just blew whenever it wanted to, just random. I'm like, I'm gonna stop light, and it's like beep, or like, I'm just driving down the road and it's beeping. It was very embarrassing. But also, like the brakes, when I would try to stop, I had to like grab the steering wheel with both hands and like pull up as hard as I could, and like it always stopped like almost right before it hit, like so close. And it was like magic that it stopped because I every day I thought, all right, this is it. This is it. I'm having an accident. But I was poor. I didn't have credit yet. I was a young person. Like none of that was in my favor. It was just. So also, fun fact is I was trying to save like $10, $13, whatever it was, to have like trash service at my house. So I used to take my household trash and stick it in the back of my truck every day and take it to work with me, and put it in the dumpster at work. So I was leaving my house, and like there was a couple of crows eating trash, just chilling. So I'm on my way to work, and crows in the back of the truck, rusted ass truck, just random, like beeping and stopping and beeping and stopping. When I'm almost at work, and somebody like pulls out and almost pulls out completely in front of me. So I go to slam on brakes, and as I like go to slam on brakes, and of course it's not stopping, it's just continuing to go. I'm slamming on brakes. The horn is just blaring. It's like, meh. And I'm like, the person slams on brakes, is pulling out. As I go by, I make eye contact, and it's my boss. That was so embarrassing to me. It was just incredibly embarrassing. My boss also happened to be the owner's daughter, so that was super great. Like, it was just embarrassing all around. And that day I said to myself, okay, that's it. I'm getting a new car. I don't care. I'm going to figure this out. So I didn't really have to do much figuring it out. I found a place that literally was designed for people that didn't have credit or cash. And they took my crappy truck as a trade-in for like $250 maybe, I don't remember. And then they put me in another car, and I was making payments on it. I think my payments on it were like $250, $300, whatever. And I didn't actually get the title for that car, though, until I had paid the vehicle off. So that's pretty much the way that your contract for deed works. So just FYI, disclaimer, I've used it occasionally as an investor for purchase, but typically I don't like to use it except for in sales. So in acquisition, it's not my favorite. If I'm going to be in that situation, we're either like, for me, I prefer to either do an owner finance, or I prefer to do a lease purchase, like whichever, but I don't particularly prefer to do this method for no particular reason. It's not like it's bad. It just costs a little extra money when I could just do a lease purchase instead. I do, however, use it all the time in sales, and I do that when I'm owner financing a property to a buyer and they don't have the full amount down that I'm asking for, and typically that's between 10 and 20%. So this is a good time. This is when I usually will utilize this method. So I'll just let them know, hey, your title's held in escrow until you reach that down payment amount. So when you get your taxes back next year, you can put towards it or whatever you need to do to get to the amount that we're comfortable with filing title. And that works really well a lot. Like, that's easy. Also, with that, there's typically a quitclaim deed that is involved in the contract. So if they miss payments, you're able to file a quitclaim deed for foreclosure instead of having to go through an extensive foreclosure process. So the deed basically that was there doesn't get filed and you quitclaim it back to yourself. Is just more or less, it never even transacts, it never transpires, but they're signing it understanding that this means that if they don't pay, this is what's going to happen. So that's typically how that works. So now that we know what it is and when I typically use it, if you plan to use it for acquisition, that's absolutely fine too, because your good seller for that is basically a person who would qualify for an owner finance situation, but isn't comfortable with title transferring on public record. And so this just gives them a level of security that, or a sense of security that they wouldn't have had with a typical owner finance. So, when you're talking to them, like some of the pros that go to them is they're going to receive payments each month just like they would for an owner finance. They're not going to have to worry about vacancy, maintenance, or repairs or anything like they would with a rental. And then again, they have the security of like not having to go through a whole eviction or a whole foreclosure process to reclaim the home if you fail to make payments or you don't meet your contractual obligations. And of course, the cons are the same cons that we would have with an owner finance or lease purchase, which is they're not getting all of their money up front, they're getting it in terms, and they're going to have to wait to be paid off. So that's how that goes. Now, the pros to you, if you're using this for acquisition, it is really an easier sale and you still own the property than an owner finance. So that works out for you. You still have all the same rights as the owner. In fact, you still have the title and your attorney is holding this title in escrow. So if he needs to file it, if they're outside of their contractual obligations, that can be filed. So that's typically part of your contract for deed is that, hey, if they're stepping outside of the bounds, you can file this. You can go ahead and file your title and they're going to have to leave you alone. Which, sometimes does happen because oftentimes when you're dealing with just individuals that own homes, they're not real estate professionals. They don't understand contracts, even though you've explained it to them, their attorneys explained it to them. A lot of times they have a lot of attachment to a property, and it does sometimes turn into issues. So anyway, just basically what it comes down to, again, if you want more detail, because I know I've compared this a lot to an owner finance. If you want more detail on owner finance, I do have a video on that that'll tell you how to market for that person and all of those things. I just didn't want to run on and on and on today because yesterday I talked for like 20 minutes, so I'm going to let that go today. So anyway, thank you all for stopping by, and I hope that you find it informative. If you have questions, feel free to ask me. I am self-quarantined and bored as fuck, so I'm answering questions. It's great. And to everybody who's out there delivering mail or first responders, working in a grocery store, lab techs, all of you people that are out there in what feels like a thankless job, thank you. And for all of you who are sitting at home, bored like me, thank you. So enjoy your day drinking or binge watching or whatever it is, cleaning the same place again, whatever it is that you're doing to pass the time. Enjoy yourself and have a great time. Bye.